Hi everyone. I was out of town this past weekend, so I'm still trying to analyze and process all of the amazing information that we got from Star Wars Celebration. With things like the Rebel Season 3 trailer, James Luceno being unveiled as the author of Catalyst, and all of the Rogue One and Episode 8 news, there's definitely a ton of exciting Star Wars material to look forward to for the rest of the year. But I thought that I would do a quick video, just as myself and not the non-canon expert, to discuss one of the most interesting things to come out of Celebration for me, which was the emergence of the final arcs and storylines that were planned for Ahsoka Tano prior to the cancellation of the Clone Wars TV series. The information was provided at a panel entitled Ahsoka's Untold Tales that included Dave Filoni and Ashley Eckstein, the latter of which being the voice actor of Ahsoka herself. The panel discussed 3 arcs that represented the untold stories that were planned for Ahsoka that would follow her journey after leaving the Jedi Order and explained what she was doing right up until the final days of the Clone Wars. The first Untold Ahsoka arc did not waste time, as it would have focused on her actions immediately walking away from Anakin at the Jedi Temple following her decision to leave the Jedi Order. The panel discussed the fact that early in this arc, we would have seen an Ahsoka who was deeply conflicted, as although she no longer trusted the Jedi Council due to the fact that she felt abandoned by them during her trial for the bombing of the Jedi Temple, Ahsoka was still motivated to do good and assist in the galaxy. Because of this conflict within Ahsoka, the first arc would have depicted her bumpy journey to the well-known criminal underworld of Coruscant, particularly that of level 1313. It would be during this journey that Ahsoka would team up with a similarly aged Han Solo type character named Nick Stokami. And while keeping her past life as a Jedi a secret, a romantic relationship would evolve between the two as they tried to survive within the criminal underworld of Coruscant. Therefore, the first arc in the Untold Stories of Ahsoka dealt primarily with her transition away from her life within the Jedi Order, which up until that time was the only life that she knew. In the second arc that was discussed by the Ahsoka's Untold Tales panel at Celebration, we see that Ahsoka and Anakin's farewell on the steps of the Jedi Temple was not intended to be their last encounter with each other prior to Anakin's fall to become Darth Vader. The second arc would have seen Ahsoka returning to the Jedi Temple and reunite with not only Anakin, but with Obi-Wan as well. However, Ahsoka was not returning as a Jedi, but rather as an advisor, wherein having just emerged from the Coruscant criminal underworld that would have been established in the first arc, her skills were necessary for an important mission to rescue Yoda from Coruscant's underbelly. Having gained a large amount of knowledge regarding the subsurface of Coruscant, this second arc would have saw Ahsoka guide Anakin and Obi-Wan miles below the Jedi Temple to the base level of Coruscant. This rescue mission would have had some amazing scenes. The panel at Celebration revealed that the arc would have included Ahsoka finding an ancient Sith shrine that was located underneath the Jedi Temple, and which was the source of inherent dark-side power that was making its way up to and permeating the Jedi Temple miles above. This would have been a great tie-in with James Luceno's novel Tarkin, where the ancient Sith shrine underneath the Jedi Temple was also seen. An amazing scene described by the panel was where Ahsoka engaged in combat with a dark-side user at the ancient Sith Temple, wherein Ahsoka was shocked by Force lightning, only for it to be revealed that the dark-side user was in fact Darth Sidious. In the final Untold Ahsoka arc described by the panel at Celebration, we would have seen Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and members of the Clone Army travel to Mandalore in order to unseat Darth Maul from power there, which he had taken due to the power vacuum that was left by the death of Duchess Satine. However, before the attack takes place, and as a direct tie-in with the opening scene from Revenge of the Sith, Yoda recalls Anakin and Obi-Wan back to Coruscant due to the fact that General Grievous has launched an attack upon the capital. At this point, the panel described what would have been the final encounter between Anakin and Ahsoka. Before leaving Mandalore, Anakin would have taken Ahsoka aside to share with her how proud he was of her, no matter what her decisions were at the end of the day regarding the Jedi Order. Further, Anakin provided her with a gift, a battalion of the 501st, including Captain Rex, with their helmets painted in a fashion similar to Ahsoka's Togruta markings. Of course, this would be the final, both heartwarming and heartbreaking moments between the one-time master and apprentice. Although I probably prefer the farewell between Anakin and Ahsoka on the steps of the Jedi Temple, as it works well in the overall story of Anakin's fall to the dark side, it's difficult to deny that when taking the Clone Wars TV series on its own, the scene described by the panel at Celebration would have been a fitting and touching end to the series. I would love to hear what you guys think in this regard. Overall, I greatly enjoyed this panel. It demonstrated just how much time and effort the team behind the Clone Wars put into thinking about the series, particularly Dave Filoni. You just have to appreciate their love for the project and for Star Wars. It's also both interesting and a bit frustrating, to be honest, to know that the team behind the Clone Wars TV series had so much more left to tell, specifically with Ahsoka, and that these remaining storylines were of such high quality. But I just thought that this was one of the more fun reveals and discussions from Star Wars Celebration this past weekend. Oh, and there was also this. Early indications are that the return of our friends from exile and back into the canon is going very, very well.